we now know, and thanks again to Ben Cotton, who did some of the forensics out there in Arizona, as well as here in Georgia. We know that these systems not only are remotely accessible, but they have been remotely accessed during the election. We know that that happened here in Georgia and in Michigan, and they had all kinds of strange fingerprints in those in Arizona, leading back to double boot system with non-election data on it, and from out-of-state areas, and all kinds of crazy stuff. So these are not secure enough to conduct another election on. That's the bottom line. That was a long way around to get to the point is, his executive order, we need somebody to lead this movement to get rid of the voting systems. And of course, he's the right guy because he knows he was cheated out of the 2020 election.
Visit faithandfreedom.tv and download the Faith and Freedom TV app today. Faith and Freedom TV fights back with truth. Our bold content, news, shows, Bible teachings, worship, and films shines with biblical conviction and patriotic courage, free from globalist lies. We empower Christian patriot creators to share faith and liberty. Access thousands of videos on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, Android, and iOS. Join the battle at faithandfreedom.tv.
Ray, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Today, hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the Amber May Show. I'm excited about today. I am welcoming Garland Facorito from Voter GA. He's joining me today. We're going to be talking about election integrity issues. If you're not familiar with Voter GA and Garland Facorito, he's been in the election integrity space for quite some time. And he's a volunteer. The Voter GA is volunteer based, and he's been exposing what's been happening in Fulton County and in other elections. Garland Facorito is a career information technology professional of over 40 years of experience. He devoted much of his career to computer programming, business systems analysis, data administration, internet systems design, and architecture, as well as system development methodology. So he knows a lot about the issues when it comes to technology, and he talks about that, especially when it comes to election integrity issues. And that's why I wanted him to come and talk about the new executive order that Donald Trump has that talks about securing the American elections. And then also with that, we're going to talk about China. China is going to keep coming up in this episode because I found a video that I want to play for him from John Solomon that talks about what Kash Patel found about possible election interference with the Chinese nationals. Now, I also found some articles that I want to share with you today regarding that Trump was asked about Chinese nationals entering our country through student visas. And he said in one of the press conferences for his cabinet meeting that just happened not that long ago that he is expecting to have welcome 600,000 Chinese students to our country because he does not want to see the universities go belly up. Okay, so that's going to come up today. We're also going to talk about the rockets that launch. We're going to talk about NASA and Space Force on this episode. So I hope you'll like, share, subscribe. There's some elections that I'm covering on today's episode since it's kind of like a national security issue kind of show involving elections, involving China, and involving some other special elections across the country. Do we see more gerrymandering going on? Well, we'll talk about that on today's episode. So please like, share, subscribe. If you're new to the program, if you've been a long-time viewer but never been a chatter, join our friend circle over on Rumble and join the chat over there. So I'd love to welcome you to our program. Love to have you. And some shows you need to check out. Tomorrow, Dr. Michael Schwartz is going to be on my show. I'll be on at 2 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday, Thursday, I'm on 2 p.m. Eastern. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm at 6 p.m. Eastern. So please go give him a like and a follow. We're going to raid into him later on in the episode. And Dan Nunn, I love it. Dan Nunn gets to raid into me Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I get to raid into him Tuesday, Thursday. It's awesome. We start out Tuesday, Thursday, God Signpost. We go to Handy News. And then you guys can come right into my show Tuesday and Thursday right after Handy News. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we have the Nunn Report, the Amber May Show, and then we go into the Michael Schwartz Show. It's great. So go give all of those programs a like and a follow. Pages with Grit, Lady Hamilton Art, Common Censored. Go give all of them a like and a follow. Live with Chris's World. And over on Podbean, go check out the Old Man's podcast. I just love the Old Man. It's great. Good friend of mine. The Pulse in Alaska, a good friend of mine. Story and Strength. Go check all these shows out on podbean.com. Hey, if you haven't made the switch today, why not? Patriot Mobile is the only Christian conservative cell phone company out there. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. With the 100% U.S. customer service space, it makes switching easy. And the best part is, if you use my name, you get a free month of service. So go to patriotmobile.com/Amber or 972-PATRIOT and let them know I sent you and get a free month of service. Again, that's patriotmobile.com/Amber or 972-PATRIOT and let them know Amber sent you. Well, I have a lot to get to on today's episode, so let's get started.
On the Amber May Show, the truth runs deep, fighting for the lost, for the souls who weep, breaking the silence, making a stand, a voice for the people across this land. Children stolen, lives betrayed, she won't back down, she's lighting the way, a beautiful warrior with faith so bright, holding the line in this endless fight. On the Amber May Show, the truth runs deep, fighting for the lost, for the souls who weep, breaking the silence, making a stand, a voice for the people across this land.
Garland, it is such a pleasure to finally interview you. I have been watching you for some time with Voter GA and all the work you've been doing out in Georgia for election integrity. Welcome to the program.
It's great to be with you, Amber.
I was looking forward to this interview. I saw it and I'm like, yes, I have to have him on my show. Because Donald Trump just posted something on True Social recently, and he made an announcement that he's going to be leading the movement to get rid of mail-in ballots and electronic ballot machines. He said, elections can never be honest with mail-in ballots / voting, and everyone, in particular, the Democrats, know this. Trump wrote on True Social, and the Republican Party, will fight like hell to bring honesty and integrity back to our elections. So what are your thoughts about Donald Trump coming out and talking about mail-in ballots and the voting fraud that's been going on?
Well, we're really excited about it. We've known about it for some time, and we've been working on proposed executive order language ever since right after Inauguration Week. So very excited about, in March, he created the Executive Order 14248, and that kind of laid the foundation for what he's going to do now. And I think what people don't realize is we're in a national election security crisis. You know this because you're in Maricopa County, and I know this because I'm in Fulton County in Georgia. But a lot of folks don't really understand how serious it is. In this last order in March, he has two assessments in there. One is for a Doge assessment of the voter rolls, which are going to show that there's 50 or 20% invalid registrations on the rolls, a major, huge problem. And then the other issue is he's got an assessment for the security of the voting systems. And of course, out in Maricopa, y'all have the same system out there, Dominion Democracy Suite systems that we have statewide here in Georgia. So we believe that these assessments are going to show how bad elections really are in America, and that will justify the removal of mail-in ballots, which, y'all were counting those for 3 weeks after the election, at least out in Maricopa. Even though you had voting machines like we do, we had a similar thing. We were counting ballots for days after the election, and we don't even know, literally to this day, where they came from. It's unreal. But so I think that's a great thing. You've got to try to get rid of mail-in balloting. Still have some absentees, but not mail-ins. And then, of course, the other real issue is the voting system and the security of the system. And we found out, the folks out in your audience may not know, but we had a case here called DeKalb GOP v. Ravensburger, and we had expert witness testimony from two gentlemen one Ben Cotton and the other Clay Parikh. Some of your listeners might know who they are. But they proved basically in court and their testimony was unrefuted by the state of Georgia. But they showed that the Dominion system was never legitimately certified in the first place because it stored the encryption keys in clear plain text and instead of an encryption module. And that's a violation of the original 2005 voting system guidelines under which it was allegedly certified back in 2019, at least here in Georgia. So it's not certifiable. We now know, and thanks again to Ben Cotton, who did some of the forensics out there in Arizona, as well as here in Georgia. We know that these systems not only are remotely accessible, but they have been remotely accessed during the election. We know that that happened here in Georgia and in Michigan. And they had all kinds of strange fingerprints in those in Arizona, leading back to double boot system with non-election data on it, and from out-of-state areas, and all kinds of crazy stuff. So these are not secure enough to conduct another election on. That's the bottom line. That was a long way around to get to the point. His executive order, we need somebody to lead this movement to get rid of the voting systems. And of course, he's the right guy because he knows he was cheated out of the 2020 election.
We all were cheated out of the 2020 election. And I would say even Arizona got cheated out again in 22. I would also suggest that this has been a long time happening, that the fraud was just so prolific in 2020. That there was no way that they were able to hide it because they cheated so badly. Like they had to really come against Donald Trump and add so many more fake ballots than they normally would have to sway the election, that it made it super obvious and it opened the eyes of a lot of people. I would suspect that they have been gerrymandering our elections for some time to get their people in. And I realized in 2020, I never really thought about it in this context before, that elections are a matter of national security.
Yes.
And you just look at what happened under an overthrow of Donald Trump and install Biden. We had the open borders. Even though Joe Biden spent most of his time on the beach eating ice cream, we all know he wasn't running things. But the idea that we put him as a president there in Washington, and we realized we were invaded for all these years. We were involved in child trafficking. We were involved in money laundering through Ukraine and other avenues. We're finding out that all of our tax money through U.S. aid and other ways, like going to nonprofits, we're creating all these wealthy people who were stealing money from our taxpayers. And if you go down to the nitty gritty of it, it starts at who is in these seats of elected officials, and elections are how people get there. If they want their people in there, they have to manipulate the election system. We know in Arizona that our Secretary of State's office was hacked, and they didn't even do anything about it for a very long time. And now lawsuits are coming out against just our Secretary of State's getting hacked and that information. It's really awful. And they know that if they can get their people in by gerrymandering elections, then they can get all their agenda across. So this is super important. This topic is probably one of the most important topics.
Absolutely, because it controls the political agenda and dialogue in America. And that's why we've got to do something. We've got to do it before 2026, even before the 2026 primaries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what are you guys doing at Voter GA to try and further this agenda? I know the Maricopa County Republicans are all in favor of the one-day voting, hand count, ballots only. When Mark Fincham, who's a state senator, he was running for Secretary of State in 22. I was so in favor of those ballots that had watermarks on it because it would make it harder to fabricate. I'm in favor of that. I don't know why all of our elections don't have a whole bunch of watermarks like that, like a dollar bill does. So what, like, are you in favor of stuff like that? And what is Voter GA doing to go towards a more one-day paper ballot, get rid of mail-in ballot type thing?
Well, we got the watermark bill passed here in Georgia. We got some major election reform in last year, in 2024. And we got a lot in 2021 after that happened. So before, between those 2 years and in between, last year we got a couple things, but not really as much. But if you put all that together, we think that we are basically are leading the nation in terms of election integrity procedures that have been implemented since 2020. But even all that said, it's still not enough. As you said, we still have to get to, we've got to get rid of, we believe we have to do hand-marked paper ballots with publicly recorded hand counts. That's the only way. Given that our current systems, yours and ours, are not only uncertifiable, but they're not secure, and we know that they've been remotely accessed, even though the election officials and the vendors tell us elsewise. Yeah. So we've got to get rid of the machines. We've got to have clean, pristine voter rolls. That's got to happen. And of course, as you said, we've got to get to one-day voting. We are pretty good here in Georgia. We don't accept, or at least we didn't used to accept ballots after the election. We put in some more procedures. Our Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, made some exceptions here and took in hundreds of thousands of ballots after the election that we still don't know where they came from. He went on TV and said that Trump won, basically the morning after the election, and he knew exactly how many ballots he had left to count, and it wouldn't have changed the outcome. And then 3 days later, he's accepted a couple 100,000 more ballots than he said actually even existed. So all that stuff's got to stop, and that's the evidence that supports what you're saying, Amber. That we've got to ensure that all ballots are accepted and counted on election day.
Hey, I'm going to get to that thought in just a second, but right now I'm going to take a quick break. Hey friends, if you're looking for a doctor you can trust, look no further than Dr. Stella, and you can find her at drstellamd.com. Let me show you one of the areas that I love about Dr. Stella. I enjoy supporting the immune system, especially when it comes to cold and flu season. And I love the Covey Light, the Covey Sleep, especially if you're having trouble sleep at night. Get that Covey Sleep. It'll help you so much. So not only are you supporting the immune system, but it also helps you get a good night's sleep. The Covey Spray is super easy. Covey Vites. These are my favorite, the Covey Vites. She has placed vitamin C, D, zinc, and quercetin. And we all know that zinc helps support the body's immune system, but zinc needs delivery system. So that quercetin is the delivery system to drive that zinc in to help your body heal faster and feel better. Also has Covey vitamins for kids as well. Hey, and if you're looking to get ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, or you just feel under the weather and need a doctor you can trust, set up a telemed appointment with her. And the best part is when you use my name, Amber or Amber May, at checkout, whether you need your Covey Vites or a telemed appointment, you will save money at checkout. So don't forget to use promo code Amber or Amber May at checkout to save some money. So go visit drstellamd.com and then use promo code Amber or Amber May at checkout to save some money.
Hi, I'm Dr. Artis, and you're watching me live on the Amber May Show. Stay tuned.
One of my other good friends, Dr. Artis, he has this healing conference coming up. Dr. Artis, Dr. Group, Ely, and Schmidt, they come together for something greater than themselves, each bringing something unique and powerful to the stage, a healing message, not just of hope for humanity's future, but a definitive pathway that everyone is capable of walking in order to transform disease and darkness into bright, shiny, healthy light. They will teach you how to take control of your own health by sharing natural, simple healing solutions for the whole family. So the conference is coming up October 23rd through the 25th. It's in Dallas, Texas, October 23rd through the 25th. If you go to healingfortheages.com and use promo code Amber, you're going to save money at checkout.
You
are listening to the Amber May Show, and now we return to the show already in progress. Yeah, what I found fascinating is Donald Trump just recently had a meeting with his cabinet secretary, and Tulsi Gabbard said that they found burn bags tied to the 2020 election, bags that were supposed to be burned and they didn't get burned. And when Trump asked when it's coming out, Tulsi said, once we have all that information collected, and adding that they're finding documents tucked away in back of safes in random offices in other areas. I mean, that's really disturbing to find. But I'm glad that some of this evidence was preserved, because remember when they were telling us, oh, there's no evidence. Yeah, because you don't want to look. And every time like one of us would have some kind of court hearing, it felt like we were always being stopped no matter where we went to try and uncover this election fraud, because we all know our elections are not free and fair. And we've been fighting like hell to try and get free and fair elections. And thank God that we were able to overcome this steal this time, because we have such a great team. On one hand, it was great that we kind of got the election stolen from us in 2020, because if we would have had the same cabinet members of 2016, hardly any of our America First agenda would have happened. I think he has the 18. So in a way, it was a blessing. In a way, like we uncovered, there was a lot of fraud that got exposed in the 2020 election. So there are some good to come out of it. But yeah, Garland, how do you think we can all, our state, your state, other states that are fighting for this, how do you think that we kind of come together and start? You think it's under this executive order that we can start finally moving ahead, where some of the stopping blocks are kind of getting pushed away? Like, how do you foresee this happening? Because I know you get frustrated, and I get frustrated that every time like we try to do something, it feels like we're always blocked, with a few little exceptions in the way. You talked about in that court hearing in Georgia, where they did prove that there was flipping of the votes and stuff like that, manipulations in the machines. Like, how do you perceive this? Because I know you did a press conference recently about this executive order. I'd love for you to share some of that information that you shared in that press conference with my audience.
Sure. Well, we're really excited, but the executive order just laid the foundation. The primary focus was enforcing the federal law for proof of citizenship, foreign interference in elections, and not accepting ballots after election day. Those were the three major items in the foundation. But as we talked about earlier, it set the stage for future executive orders, both for the voter rolls and for the security of the systems. And of course, in Section 4, the president rescinded all the certifications of existing voting systems and ordered the EAC to upgrade their standards to ensure that there are no QR coded accumulation, which is an unverifiable system. So, the question that I had was, why has the EAC allowed that to be the standard for 20 years? It shouldn't have taken Donald Trump's executive order for the EAC to recognize that the American people need to have verifiable voting. We've been talking about it for 20 years. It's been a major issue, and the EAC has sat on their hands and they've done absolutely nothing in that regard. So, that's all really good, but I think what's going to happen is we'll have two more executive orders, one for the voter rolls, one for the system security. I think that's how Trump's going to lead this movement. He is committed to it. Been very exciting to see that, he's made so many accomplishments already in terms of identifying fraud. He has gotten peace in the Middle East. That's amazing. Now he's got peace with Ukraine and Russia, it looks like. So now he can turn, and then, by the way, and of course, they've come out with the 2016. They show how that was stolen. You mentioned Tulsi Gabbard, and she's come out with that recently. and the burn bags that where they found all the evidence in that. And now finally he can turn his attention to 2020. And I think once he can focus on the 2020 election, that is going to be terrific for us, because you can't secure 2026 if you don't know what happened in 2020 and fix it. And that is what I think his intent will be. So we want to jump on board for that as best we can. We've even got this new apparel I'm wearing today, Make Elections Great Again, in support of Trump's executive order. So we launched that, and we are basically just, that's available for donations, just to say thank you for all the folks who have been supporting our lawsuits down here. We still have 5 active ones going on, and we're not going to stop until we see those Fulton County ballots in 2020.
That's good. You talked about foreign nationals interfering in the election. John Solomon was on Boiling Point, and he talks about the Chinese government. So I thought I could play the clip for you. We can talk about it a little bit.
Sure.
Story that Kash Patel turned over to the Congress, documents showing that the FBI suspected that China was mailing tens of thousands of fake driver's licenses to Chinese citizens here so that they could create fake identities and then pass mail-in ballots for Joe Biden in the 2020 election. Massive interference. What happened to that memo, according to Kash Patel? Kash Patel told me for some reason it was recalled and it wasn't investigated further. Someone sent it out and the FBI called it back, and then no one ever investigated, even though there was corroborating evidence. What was the corroborating evidence? Customs and Border Protection intercepted 20,000 of those fake IDs.
Where?
In Chicago, going to Midwest states. Oh, the battleground states, of course. Yeah. They had the corroboration even. They pull it back. I just got text of these 2 memos for the first time. I can tell you the back one first, and I'll go back to the juicy part in the beginning. When they recalled the memo, they asked all their sister agencies in the intelligence community to destroy the memo that had been sent out. That's very odd. You don't normally destroy raw intelligence reports. Somebody didn't want this to be discovered. Now, let me tell you what the memo actually says. It lays it out exactly as Kash Patel told us last night. In late August 2020, the Chinese government had produced a large amount of fraudulent United States driver's licenses that were secretly exported to the United States. The fraudulent driver's licenses would allow tens of thousands of Chinese students and immigrants sympathetic to the Chinese Communist Party to vote for U.S. presidential candidate, U.S. person Joe Biden, despite not being eligible to vote in the United States. China had collected private U.S. user data from millions of TikTok accounts to include name, ID, address, to facilitate this capability. Very specific. It comes from a source who's been working for the FBI just under a year. During that period, he was working with the FBI. He was chronically corroborated, so he was deemed to be pretty reliable. But there are things in this memo that clearly are raw. It says, first off, we haven't corroborated everything here. It's out to just get lead generation. 2, we don't see address fields in TikTok, so maybe that part of the information could be wrong. But it was clearly meant to be a lead gen for investigators to go out and find out, was there about to be a massive...
We know who pulled back the FBI memo?
Yeah, we do not. That's the missing part. We do not know who called it. We know what's recalled.
Can you imagine? I mean, they were saying that Russia colluded with Donald Trump to overthrow Hillary Clinton. And really, China is very much involved in overthrowing the 2020 election, or allegedly trying to help overthrow. I mean, can you, I guess we can't imagine because it did happen, right? But I don't think any of us in our wildest imaginations thought foreign countries would try and interfere in our elections. At least I never did.
Right. And of course, now we know Hillary Clinton was colluding with the Steele dossier and Mark Elias to overthrow the 2016 election.
Elitist media deceives, but Faith and Freedom TV amplifies truth. Our world-leading platform delivers news, teachings, worship, movies, and music rooted in biblical values and constitutional patriotism, inspiring faith and liberty. We inspire, equip, and amplify Christian patriots to share powerful stories of faith, family, and freedom. With live events, thousands of on-demand videos, and access on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, Android, and iOS, we're transforming culture globally for God and country. New content is coming to ignite faith. Join our mission to counter deception. Visit faithandfreedom.tv and download the Faith and Freedom TV app today.
At least Elias was running her campaign then, so it appears that he's going to be involved in that. So, it's hard to imagine, but as more and more of this comes to play, these sources go back to China. We've got still to come, we believe, is this whole Dominion, Smartmatic, Serbian programmers, Venezuelan government, a lot of connections there that appear to go back to China as well. So it's obvious that China appears to have been desiring to take over America without firing a single bullet.
That's right.
Or dropping a single bomb. It's just basically by compromising our own elected leaders.
Now let's ask, state level. So the executive orders are about the federal elections because he really can't tamper with, tamper, that's the wrong word, but he really can't do anything legally for state elections. So Garland, your state, my state, what do you think is, look at who is governor now, Katie Hobbs. Not really in favor of election integrity. Every time that our state legislators try to put anything on the ballot for election integrity, they would veto it. So they were starting to send referendums to the voters. But that means we have to wait 2 to 4 years before we can vote to make this stuff law. So, and then you look at California, a state like California, Gavin Newsom, you think anyone in California is going to be following Donald Trump's executive order, or in New York? So how does he enforce his executive order with blue states like Gavin Newsom and New York and Kathy Hochul? And then what about our state level? How are we going to make our states comply with the ID requirements and hand count vote? Like, give me some ideas. I'd love to.
Great question. So Article 1, Section 4 of the Constitution says that the states are responsible for elections. That's the first sentence. But if people stop there, they don't read the second sentence. The second sentence says that Congress has the authority over federal elections should they choose to exercise that authority. And they have in the past. That's why we have NVRA, HAVA, and the National Voting Rights Act. So on occasion, Congress has executed that authority for federal elections. And then what happens is the states just go along. So for states elections, because they don't want to have two different types of elections going on. So I can foresee the same thing happening again. The president will either drive congressional policy and implement new federal law or revise the existing federal laws, or he will otherwise use his emergency powers to basically implement that law until Congress can do it themselves. So I can see all that coming. And then if that will apply, as you said, Amber, only for federal elections. However, then the states will be in the dilemma. Do they want to have two different types of election systems, or do they just want to have one that will cover both federal and states? So they'll, by default, I believe, comply with the federal election standards for their state elections, and that will go a long way to solve our problems.
You think that Donald Trump's willing to hold federal funding from states like California and New York if they do not comply with the executive order? Do you think that's how he plans on enforcing his executive order with election integrity? And if you look at his election integrity executive order, it's just really mirroring what the law says, what our Constitution says, that we're supposed to only have citizens vote in the election. He's not really making anything up per se, but no one's been really enforcing these laws. So it's not like he's really making anything new. The executive orders that he's talking about in these election integrity executive orders are just basically mirroring what has already been put into law.
Exactly, and that's why they will be upheld in court. He's just enforcing existing federal law in every case, in every one of the sections in his executive order. There were 9 sections that applied to different aspects of the elections, and there were some boilerplate sections as well. I think there was 12 altogether. But each one of the 9 referenced a specific law that was not being upheld. And I was quite surprised by some of those laws. As you said, the law is very clear on proof of citizenship. Everybody knows that you have to be a citizen to vote. And he's just simply saying, okay, well, let's make sure that we prove that people are citizens to vote. Nothing wrong with that. Same thing with election, making sure that all the ballots are in on election day. There is no provision for voting or accepting ballots other than on election day in federal law. So again, he's upholding the federal law that's completely within his executive powers, and no honest judge could try to take that away from it.
I love how you use the word honest, because we have seen so many dishonest judges in the last 6 months alone try to fight things that he has powers to do, or try to legislate from the bench saying, oh, this district federal court is going to mandate a law nationwide. And the Supreme Court has knocked that down, saying, no, you don't have the ability to do that. So we have seen this. I'm glad you used that word. So if people want to learn more about what you guys are doing in Georgia, because you guys are really on fire in Georgia, trying to make our elections safe, at least the safe in Georgia, and hopefully we can mimic what you guys are doing and what's working for Georgia and other states, how is the best way to get in touch with you and find out what's going on with Voter GA?
Well, just simply by going to our website, voterga.org. We have all the latest information up there. All of our legal suits are on the legal tab. All of the amazing studies we've done are on the studies tab. We have press releases every month. We do something. So voterga.org would be the place to go. And of course, we also, on the donate tab, we have a place where you can donate. We are a nonprofit, so all donations are tax deductible. But the most important thing is we're all volunteers. So we don't take salaries. I'm retired, and we're doing this just to save America. That's our press release tab there. Anybody who does make a donation, you have the option of getting some Make Elections Great Again apparel, based on the amount of your donation. So that's another option for you. And that's on the donate tab as well.
I love that you have the free Tina Peters on your website. There are some people out there, believe it or not, who know nothing about Tina Peters. I got to meet her and do an interview with her at an event I was at before she got locked up. Briefly tell us about Tina Peters and what she's going through.
Well, Tina Peters is currently sitting in jail. She's imprisoned for 9 years. And this is an unprecedented case in American history, where she's not only is she a grandmother, 70 years old, no criminal record whatsoever, was convicted of a nonviolent crimes, and is sentenced to prison while her case is on appeal. This is absolutely unheard of in the American justice system. And all of the crimes which he allegedly committed all had to do simply with the observation of a Dominion system upgrade. Now, why would Secretary of State Jenna Griswold attempt to make a Dominion system upgrade private, not available to the public? In Georgia, even in Georgia, everything regarding elections has to be made public. So what was Jana Griswold trying to hide from the voters of Colorado? I think we'll find out one day soon. But Tina is right now in prison. We hope that she's going to be released in the next couple of weeks. But the judge, when he sentenced her, said that he was putting her in prison because her speech was a threat and a danger to the community. direct violation of her First Amendment United States constitutional rights. Hopefully he will pay for that in the coming months.
It's been my understanding they wouldn't let her out on bail, that they withheld bail from her. And that's another reason why Donald Trump's fighting so hard against this cashless bail. For one, to keep bad, dangerous criminals behind bars. But also I learned in some states with cashless bail, they don't let you get out of jail at all in some states with this cashless bail. So I think it's very disturbing because it takes away some of your constitutional rights to be able to have bail so that you can go to, this is like pretrial, right? The bail, what I'm talking about with the cashless bail at pretrial, before you even get to go to trial, they don't even give you the option to get out of jail until you get heard in court to be convicted, whether you did the crime or not. And so some people could be sitting in jail for years because, the court system's slow. It's not super fast. So she could be sitting in jail a long time waiting for her trial to happen. But this is why this issue with bail is so important.
Well, exactly. And that's the issue with Judge Barrett, who basically imprisoned her while, as you said, while her case is under appeal. And that's so unusual. I mean, and particularly when you're talking about a nonviolent crime and someone with no criminal history, I don't even think Tina Peters has a parking ticket.
Probably not.
So,
and on top of it, she was an elected official who discovered abnormalities in her elections. And she's like, wait a minute, this isn't right. And so she started talking about it. And now she's behind bars just because she had proof. She saw stuff, and now they don't want that getting out. So now she's sitting behind bars. And Donald Trump can't do anything about it because it's a state issue. So he can't pardon her because she didn't commit a federal crime. Not that she committed crime at all, but you know what I mean? Like, so he can't pardon her. Only the governor could. So I don't know. I hope they let her go. I hope the more we talk about it and put public pressure on it, I hope they end up letting Tina Peters go.
Yeah, well, they're certainly under a lot of pressure to continue to keep her locked up. The president's going to, pretty obvious, he's going to keep that pressure up. We certainly are doing our part. I mean, the web page you showed, we had one of our volunteers created a video, a really cool video, music video based on a song that we picked that we thought represented her spirit really, really well. So, and we've had two volunteers create two different songs for her. So we're very concerned, and we've been supporting her as best we can.
Well, I want to thank you, Garland, for hanging out with me, talking about the election integrity issue. We need to keep talking about it because this is a matter of national security. This is not just, the popular vote for who's president. This is literally a matter of national security. So I want to thank you for all your work you're doing in Voter GA. And if you guys want to learn more, go to voterga.org. Thank you so much, Garland. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Amber.
Hey, I'm going to get to that thought in just a second, but right now I'm going to take a quick break. And hey, if you haven't made the switch to Patriot Mobile, why not? They're the only Christian conservative cell phone carrier out there. Have access to all three major networks. Keep your name, keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. With 100% U.S. customer service base, it makes switching easy. And the best part is, when you use my name, Amber, you're going to get a free month of service. So go to patriotmobile.com/Amber or call 972-PATRIOT and let them know Amber sent you. That's again, patriotmobile.com/Amber or 972-PATRIOT and get that free month of cell phone service.
Hey, this is Jeff Dornick and you're watching The Amber May Show.
Ever thought about having your own podcast? Let me show you how easy it can be. Worried about tech and the mic? I break it down in the course. Thinking that you need some expensive studio? I show you the kind of studio and how easy it is and cost effective it is to start your own podcast today. Starting your own podcast can be overwhelming, and I show you the right steps to launch your show successfully. So join me at Podcast Like a Pro. I'm Amber May with over 20 years of experience in the broadcasting and podcasting world, and I could show you how to podcast like a pro because I am a pro. So become a pro just like me by going to theambermayshow.com. Look for the tab Podcast Like a Pro, and what's even better, prices have been slashed. Save over $100 when you use promo code AMBER at checkout. I slashed the price and I'm adding a promo code into it. So join now. Now is the best time to be a podcasting pro just like me. So go to theambermayshow.com, hit Podcast Like a Pro with the newer, lower prices. And don't forget promo code AMBER at checkout. You are listening to the Amber May Show, and now we return to the show already in progress. Well, I want to thank Garland Facorito for joining us. So we're going to talk a little bit more about elections today, but I have some more information coming out for outside of the election stuff, but I do have some more election stuff I want to cover on this segment of the show. But what I did realize that there is a space war going on between NASA and Space Force, and they're tasked with defending against outer space threats. And I have some videos about the launch and the touchdown. I guess I didn't realize there was a launch happening. But yeah, there was a launch that happened. I have the video, and it's really cool. The launch, the touchdown. I mean, we have advanced so much since the days of Apollo, and those days were pretty cool to watch. So the Gateway Pundit's talking about NASA and Space Force. And what they're talking about in this article is that the United States has two government agencies focused on defending the Earth from threats from outer space. NASA is tasked with protecting the Earth from natural space threats like asteroids, while Space Force is developing space warfare capabilities to protect U.S. space assets and adversary threats, largely from China and Russia. And I have some more China news. I mean, we heard about what China was doing with the elections, and I have some more China news for you as well. The U.S. Space Force is tasked with counting adversity threats in orbit, particularly from China and Russia. General Chan Salzman, chief of space operation, has warned that China is rapidly expanding its anti-satellite arsenal from ground-based lasers and missiles to satellite capabilities of disabling or destroying others, while Russia is pursuing a nuclear weapons design for space. These advances, which Salzman calls a grave threat to the United States, have prompted the Space Force to develop orbital warfare capabilities that include jammers, directed energy, kinetic weapons, and more resilient satellite able to maneuver and withstand attack. In 2024, China conducted operations with 3 experimental satellites, practically dogfighting maneuvers in low Earth orbit, rehearsing tactics and procedures on orbit combat. In addition, China employs electronic jammers that can disrupt space-based communication, radar, and navigation systems, and has deployed an experimental satellite in geostationing orbit to practice space-based jamming. Beyond these systems, China is building a kill web intelligence network using hundreds of satellites to track and target forces on Earth. Its ASAT program dates back to 1964 and gained attention in 2007 when China destroyed one of its own weather satellites, creating a massive debris field. Russia's space warfare program is equally alarming, and the most concerning development is its pursuit to nuclear ASAT weapons that would violate outer space treaties. Such a system would create a blast of wave, intense radiation, and an electromagnetic pulse capable of disabling and destroying satellites across wide areas of orbit. So that is some scary stuff. I am so glad we have a president that thought ahead to develop Space Force. We had no president for a long time to bring forth another military organization, or a branch of our military, I should say. So I'm glad that Donald Trump had the foresight to have Space Force. Wow, that's a lot that they have to maneuver and look at and check out. So let's look at this space rocket. It's just so incredible and so fun to watch a space launching from outer space, or a space. It is so fun to watch a rocket launch and go into outer space.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Vehicle pitching downrange. Booster chamber pressure nominal.
Wow, it was going over 400 miles an hour. That is incredible. Now, here is the splashdown, which is pretty cool. I don't know if it's as cool as launching a rocket, but here's what it looks like when it splashes down on Earth.
Seeing 3 engines. There's our flip. There's a buoy. There's a splashdown. Hey.
Very cool.
Oh, man. Yeah. Farewell, Ship 37.
That is very cool. Very cool. And so the theme today, if you haven't picked up on it, national security. We talked about elections with Garland Facorito being a matter of national security, but also Space Force being a matter of national security. But now we're going to get into more things that regard national security and jobs. Having people be able to afford a living here is a matter of national security. Now, Gateway Pundit is reporting this. I don't know if anyone else is reporting this, but Gateway Pundit is reporting that there's a huge hiring scam that's been exposed. Job search sites caught hiding high-paying jobs from skilled American workers in order to hire foreigners, and they got caught. So the article says internet sleuths have uncovered a likely illegal scheme where U.S. companies and job search sites are systematically hiding lucrative job openings from qualified, skilled American workers, all to funnel those jobs directly to foreign workers through H-1B and a green card permanent labor certificate perm loopholes. The scheme is as dirty as it gets. Corporations bury ads in obscure corners of the internet or tiny Sunday print listings while deliberately keeping those same jobs off their main career sites where real Americans are actually looking. Why? So they can claim that they have advertised positions to U.S. citizens while quietly handing them to foreign applicants. This was discovered by a grassroots group that's why the group of investigators has launched jobs.now, exposing hidden jobs for Americans, a new job board exposing these hidden skill jobs and perm jobs and putting them back in the hands of American workers. So what is a permanent labor certificate perm worker? Well, a permanent labor certificate issued by the Department of Labor allows an employee to hire a foreign worker to work permanently in the United States. In most instances, before the U.S. employer can submit an immigration petition to the Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, the employer must obtain a certified labor certification application from the DOL's Employment and Training Administration. The DOL must certify the USCIS, and there are not sufficient U.S. workers available, willing or qualified to accept the job opportunity in the area of intended employment. And the employment of the foreign worker will not adversely affect the wages and working conditions of similarly employed U.S. worker. So according to their X account, the mission of jobs.now is to get American access to quality jobs in their own country. We think American workers are the greatest workers in the world, and we exist to make sure that they get the chance to be considered for every job first, the group wrote. And we are tired of seeing companies hire H-1Bs for ordinary jobs that Americans can do. When we learned from this group that employers were systematically discriminating against Americans by hiding jobs for perm applicants, we decided to create our own job board to make it easy and acceptable for Americans to apply for hidden perm jobs. But even if they did, there's already an agenda that they don't want to hire Americans. So what good does this do? We built custom software that allows us to rapidly process hundreds of perm job postings from across the country and upload them to modern job board format. And we are proud that we have helped our users apply for more than 35,000 jobs at over 1,000 companies. And we will always be dedicated to providing access to American jobs for American workers. Now, that's all nice and dandy, but if they're not wanting to hire American workers, they're going to continue to hire non-American workers. So at least someone's there trying. So you got to commend them for that. And maybe they are successful. Maybe it's just my pessimistic view of everything that's been so anti-you and I. Everywhere we go, even past presidents and past Congress, anti-American everything. They want us Americans to pay for the world, but they keep sacrificing you and I. Like, oh, we're like the ugly stepchild that no one cares about until now. Did you know this happened, that the Nevada state government shut down for a second day in a row? Remember I talked about how the Secretary of State's website got hacked in Arizona? Well, on Sunday morning, the state of Nevada identified a network security incident and immediately engaged in 24/7 recovery efforts. The matter is under active investigation as the state continues its recovery efforts. The network security incident continues to impact the availability of certain state technology systems on the state network. Some state websites or phone lines may be slow or briefing unavailable during recovery. The state is focused on restoring services safely and validating state systems before returning them to normal operation. Well, at least Nevada is making it known. Arizona Secretary of State Adrian Fontes wanted to keep it hidden until the state legislators started exposing it on X. And I think there was a lawsuit about it. So how does this network issue impact Nevadians? Well, state offices will not offer in-person services today. Agencies will announce when counters reopen and alternative options. State website and phone lines may be intermittently unavailable. And if a site or line does not respond, please try again later. Emergency call taking and essential services remain available statewide in case of an emergency. 911. So the Office of Governor and Governor Technology Office are working continuously with state, local, tribal, and federal partners to restore services safely. I don't think that they really get into which organizations were affected by the state. But apparently a significant state network degradation affecting the ability to contact normal business. We anticipate resuming normal business tomorrow. So, I mean, if you want to trust that machines can't be hacked, well, we just saw a whole state get hacked. And our Secretary of State's office has been hacked. So if you really don't think that the voting machines can get hacked, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I feel like anything with a computer can get hacked. So Georgia Recorder. So this is GeorgiaRecorder.com. Georgia State Senate election to replace former Senator Brandon Beach goes into a September runoff. So we just talked to voter GA Garland Facorito, and I saw that there's a special election in Georgia. So if you live in Georgia, make sure you know and get involved in this election in September, which is only a couple days away. The lone Democrat in 7-way race easily advanced to runoff in a special election that will decide who will replace former Republican State Senator Brandon Beach, and the top GOP candidates battle it out for second place. Democrat Shingley has a strong showing Tuesday night, racking up 40% of the vote. Republican Dickerson and West were neck and neck for second place Tuesday night, earning 17.4 and 17.1 for the vote. Respectively, Dickerson held a narrow 65 vote edge over West and appeared to be poised for the runoff against Shingley. Over 20,000 voters cast their ballot in a special election, amounting to a 14% turnout rate. Since no candidate declared 50% of the vote to win the race outright Tuesday, the top two candidates will face off for a second time, September 23rd. So if you live in Georgia, mark your calendars to be at that special election on September 23rd. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for checking out my show. Tomorrow, Dr. Michael Schwartz will be on, and that show will air at 2 p.m. Eastern. So remember, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday, Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining us today on the Amber May Show. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And if there's someone that came to mind, please share this episode with them. Please follow us on Telegram at The Amber May Show, True Social Amber May, Frank Socially Amber May, or Clout Hub. I can't wait to see you next time on the Amber May Show.
Economic chaos is shaking the markets. Trade tensions, government overreach, and global uncertainty are driving volatility to historic highs. But in times of crisis, gold and silver shine as safe haven assets just as they have for centuries. Right now, you have a rare opportunity to protect your wealth with Kirk Elliott Precious Metals. Call 720-605-3900 or visit kepm.com/B2T to learn how to reposition your retirement into low-cost 100% liquid gold and silver bullion. No high commission coins, no overpriced collectibles. KEPM educates you, charges no commission when you sell, and keeps your investment secure. Beware of firms pushing rare coins with sky-high markups. Stick with bullion for maximum liquidity and value. Seize this moment to thrive in uncertain times. Call Kirk Elliott Precious Metals at 720-605-3900 or go to kepm.com/B2T today. Real assets, real security, real future. The quantum effect wipes out pain and allergy symptoms in less than 30 seconds with 0 drugs. Pastor Dave and hundreds of others have experienced the quantum effect for themselves. It's backed by scientific research and rigorous lab testing. Quantum is simply about 2 things. 1, intentions, as a man thinketh so he is, and 2, renewing your mind with the Word of God. Only QE Strong encodes key intentions and Bible verses about healing onto the small patch. You simply place it on your body each day, and with a bonus prayer guide, read out loud a positive intention and 1 or 2 Bible verses about healing each day. The patch provides the touch, and the prayer guide uses your sight, speech, and hearing to relieve pain and allergy symptoms with the senses God gave you. It even works for people who have suffered decades of chronic symptoms. Are you ready to experience the quantum effect?
Go to QEstrong.com and use code FAITH at...
Terrell Owens here. On the field, I brought energy every single game. But let's be real. Sometimes the fatigue in the brain can make you feel like you're running on fumes. That's where Exodus Strong and their Fatigue to Fire playbook come into play. It's a complete 40-day blueprint with a checklist, an in-depth ebook, plus daily prayer and Bible study guides to rebuild your body, mind, and spirit. Don't wait. Get in the game. To truly get in the game, the one that matters most, you need strength built on a divine foundation, the energy God intended for you. Exodus Strong unites 7 sacred ingredients from Scripture, each chosen for its divine purpose with breakthrough science that unlocks their power. This is more than a supplement. It's a daily ritual to honor your body and restore the vitality God intended for you. No artificial stimulants, just His perfect design, activated. Join the movement of 1 million believers reclaiming their God-given strength. Your journey begins today. Visit toexodus.com to start your Fatigue to Fire transformation.